Hello and welcome back to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I feel that today's topic is especially important since the holidays are right around the corner. This is going to be something that if you attend to and give practice now, could be a valuable tool, a tremendous asset in your journey with fasting when you need to give attention to controlling binge eating and how to get yourself out of it once you've gotten into that, as well as preventing yourself supportively, respectfully, and compassionately so that doesn't happen in the future. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast, where we will explore how a simplified practice of fasting can positively influence your entire body, mind, and lifestyle, helping you live a long, healthy, and meaningful life. Hi, I'm Vicky, and I'm your passionate fasting support coach. With fasting as a lifestyle tool, I've shed over 200 pounds and kept it off without any surgery, diet fads, or gimmicks. And I am confident you can also achieve all your goals with this powerful lifestyle tool. If you're ready to tap into history's oldest healing modality for yourself, I encourage you to check out my services at thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com. I appreciate you for joining me on this week's episode, and I look forward to sharing some valuable fasting support with you after this short ad break. Thank you. All right, today we are talking about binge eating and how you can control it, mitigate it, be aware of it, compassionately, supportively through your fasting journey. So one of the things I want to remind you of before we get into it is how much of this journey is a hormonal experience and thing that we need to attend to within ourselves. And as a reminder, you probably already know, but so much of diet culture approach is to treat this body as this thing, this external thing that has no feelings, no emotions, no attachments, and it's just this compartmental thing that we have to address and take care of, and we have to measure and count and restrict in order to meet the means to this end. And we see it as just this static, detached sort of mindset. And how twisted and backwards that is when you realize with fasting and this approach, how much it should be flipped the other way, where we allow ourselves moments and opportunities throughout our day, no matter what kind of weird situation, circumstance, how much attending to our thoughts, feelings, emotions, really understanding that our entire body is run, mitigated by hormones. One of the things I like to say, if you've heard previous episodes before, hormones run the show from head to toe. It's true. Every single cell component within our body is run by hormones. So to not take into account our hormonal response to the way that we eat is a huge discredit, is a huge disservice to the power, the validity, the efficacy of this lifestyle tool for you on your journey. Like, understand the true power of this and how much can shift. So understanding this deliberate choice of practicing this lifestyle, even if you're starting out like 16-8 in the beginning and you're like, all right, I'm just like, honestly, how I was in the beginning when I first started, I was like, oh, I'm just going to give like half-assed effort. I say that with finger quotes, half-assed effort, and just like do the absolute bare minimum, like a kid that doesn't know the subject, but they have a test and they just like half-assed, like guess questions and answers through there. Just picking on the lowest hanging fruit and being like, all right, I'm just going to trust and believe of what I trust my body to be able to do and withstand. And just that deliberate practice is already telling, and you're sending signals throughout your entire body. I trust this. You're sending out just the little next step of like, okay, I know this is right for my body. It feels weird. It goes against everything that I've ever thought and believed about needing to be healthy or reaching a healthy weight and so on and so forth. If we can just like, yes, I hear and acknowledge and see that society, upbringing, cultural influences, friends, family, whoever are like, you need to eat multiple times a day. You have to you have to count your excess calories. You have to count and measure and do all this. And this is the noise that you've been hearing your entire life about how to get healthy, how to lose weight. And you have all this noise and you're just like, oh my gosh. It's so busy. It's so chaotic. Acknowledge it like, hey, I understand all this, but I know that allowing that deliberate choice and break of allowing just that brief period of rest. Remember, lowest hanging fruit. Don't stretch out too far in the beginning. The easiest, most simplest thing, half-assed effort. If you're just recalibrating, restarting out, or starting out altogether, do the lowest, smallest, easiest thing for a period of time consistently. And just notice. You'll notice a little bit more by a little bit more each day that you're showing up for yourself. And truth be told, like that first week, I remember I kind of had this conversation with myself on the inside. And I was like, I know and understand now after watching like a ton of videos with Dr. Jason Fung, by the way. So like, side note, if you're in a fasted window and you're like, oh, I just want some, if you're like me, like I'm sapiosexual and I like, my brain tingles with learning and growing more information. So any opportunity where I was like, can build upon my skill set and knowledge to the next level, is like, ooh, tell me more. So it's like, the more I learned about what fasting was, what it means, what it looks like, what it feels like, it was like, I wanted to try it on, so to speak. And I knew if I tried anything crazy that I didn't understand, we get scared and overwhelmed, right? We do too much on conventional diet culture approaches of counting, measuring, crazy working out, new foods, replacement foods, pills, powders, supplements. Like, y'all, so much noise, so much excess. You don't need it. That's so much of an assignment of my weight loss needs to be fixed from outside sources. It's got to start in here. You have to start and identify, like, I'm going to take account and notify, like, I'm going to take inventory and realize this shift needs to happen from within. It needs to be small. It needs to be a small, like, I don't know why I just got a flash image of like when you rehabilitate after a major surgery and you're like getting back to the normal working of things. Understanding you're just giving your body a break from eating for a period of time, multiple days in a row, and watching how your body is able to make that switch from inside. But still identifying, like we said, because it's such a hormonal experience, the body will absolutely fight you in the beginning. Trust me when I say this. But if you find ways, which I'm going to talk a little bit about, just a little bit, about how to keep yourself mentally present, but still in the mindset of understanding this deliberate pause has purpose. This deliberate abstention from eating has intention, has compassion, has patience, understanding in my body's ability, in knowing this excess bodily weight, body fat, is nothing negative as society says. It's not negative. I'm not a bad person for having it. I'm not broken. I'm not busted. What has happened with my body is because of my lifestyle and choices from the past. And I could go down a whole nother rabbit hole, and I believe I have multiple podcast episodes where I talk about like mindset and everything like that. So this is like kind of related to that, but a little bit more connected to methodology and like practice with fasting. So acknowledging, yeah, we've all got stuff going on in our past that has affected who we are presently. But thinking about things, like I said, lowest hanging fruit, easiest attainable action step, choice, is to know and understand, even with all that has happened in our past, if your body has excess weight, it's fuel that your body has brilliantly stored aside for later use. Choosing this choice, making this choice to be in a fasted state, even for a short minimum period of time, consecutively, habitually, as a regular part of your practice, over time, your body is going to learn, hey, we're learning to use the fuel. You're teaching your body to use the fuel that is on you, that is here in your body already. So the more you flex that habit, practice that habit, recognize its purpose, its meaning, its importance, its validity in doing what your intentions are, you're going to start to notice bit by bit, day by day. And so, we can talk a little bit more further about how that reinforces and changes the way that you see and think about so many other things on this journey. But getting back to, like I said, with controlling, with identifying your binge eating, knowing that deliberate pause and break allows you to see what triggers are that come up. And also additionally, for folks that are in the school community or maybe that have connected with me before, I have a great resource. If you're interested, post in the comments, hey, I want to get in touch with that. I have a handbook where I talk about how one of the things I advocate for is journaling and documenting your journey in whatever way works best for you. Honestly, it should be the most enjoyable thing. Make it like a gamified sort of approach that you look forward to. Like this should be, it's going to be like, again, grinning and bearing it in the beginning, because you're identifying what those triggers are that are causing this behavior. It's like you're seeing an outside view, as you will see and notice over time, the longer you are consistent in this journey, you're going to be able to identify, oh, if I'm here at this time or with this person at this time of year, this day of the week, or so on and so forth, you're going to be able to identify those fine details of that inner hormonal mental perfect storm that cause these things to happen where you're craving or you behave a certain way. And that's extremely empowering, because in those moments you can identify so that you can either change your behavior or stop the behavior or prevent it, happening altogether. And this is like meditation, like your fasting. It's a practice that you get to give attention to, honestly, every single day, because I feel like if we can really understand on this journey, it's a constant process of learning and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, being curious and really imaginative, playful, really, to see what things are going to work best for you and what things don't work at all. Being happy and happily looking forward to testing and checking things out on yourself. It can be one of the most really exhilarating parts of this journey. And I've been a former art teacher as well. So if you taught and know what I'm talking about, those light bulb moments, the aha moments where you make the realizations and the connections of, hey, this behavior happens when I get this craving, I get this trigger, I get this feeling that I want to just go and eat if I'm bored, if I'm at this time of day driving home from this place, or if I'm around this person, we usually this. Like, you can start to identify what those contributing factors were that maybe led you to where you are presently, and think about how that affect, if that's something that you want to continue going forward, or if that kind of conditions have to morph and change. Like, do you need to take a different route home from work? Do you need to maybe think about how your lunch is if you bring lunch from home, or if you often buy food out and you wish you didn't? So these little small changes, I never advocate for people to overhaul from the beginning by any means, because that's like going cold turkey, and I don't believe in that. I believe in empowering yourself and, like I said before, in getting yourself into the habit where you can do the easiest thing possible. Once you've mastered and feel comfortable in that, that's when you turn up the intensity level to, let's say you've been great on a 16-8, but you're like, you have the feeling of, I'm spinning my wheels. Well, that's your opportunity to take it up to just the next notch. And if that means like an 18-6 now instead of a 16-8, well, great. Go ahead and give that a try. And then you can identify as you are further into 16-8 and you're excited and ready to get into like an OMAD, or you really want to get into like multiple day fasts. But let's say as you're building up to that point, your body starts to send you signals, and maybe you have a day where you just binge, and it's some kind of holiday, birthday, gathering, celebration, and you find yourself just going overboard. One of the things I want folks to realize how much of this journey is identifying the setbacks as learning experiences. Sit with that for a moment. Things that happen negatively to you on your fasting journey, instead of seeing them as, I failed, I fucked up, I did this wrong. Pause before you even start, because this is going to contribute to that future if you're a binge eater, like I was. In those moments where you know you acted out of your goals and intentions, and you're like, oh man, I just went overboard. Identify it first. Okay? Identify it so that you can dismantle that, like the spinning verbiage wheel. Identify it and see within, like, see how you can zoom out of that entire situation. And this is honestly like an opportunity for you to meditate on it. See what happened in that circumstance from a zoomed out perspective, without emotion, without any attachments to it. And see what things can I learn from that experience that just happened. Are there ways that I can maybe prevent this from happening in the future? Is there behavior I could maybe do next time if this is something that could potentially occur on a regular basis, like with regular get-togethers or regular consistent type of habit? If you messed up, don't restructure it in your mind instead of saying, okay, things didn't go the way I intended them to do. We're switching the verbiage in your thoughts. Things didn't go out the way that I intended, but this is what I learned from this experience to prevent it from happening again. And believe me, like, I don't want anybody to beat themselves up if it does end up happening again. The power you get from yourself within this journey comes from allowing yourself to deliberately and willfully switch what the verbiage is that spins in your mind. And for most of us, that was put there by family and their family and so on. So it's like, it's just what we know and what we were told and what has been familiar with us. But if it's something that doesn't serve you, know that it can be switched and modified in a way that you still understand the point of the message or the reason for the trigger or reason for the purpose of that thought, feeling, belief, without having an emotional attachment to it that will cause binge, the eating, the overeating, if that's something that you struggle with. Also, I want you to remember that in these moments, if you are coming into conversations, places, situations, whatever, where previous you went overboard and is more susceptible to just binging and going crazy with eating ridiculously, then hey, what can you do beforehand to set yourself up for the best set of success? Does that mean bringing your own water everywhere you go so you're less likely to have soda or alcohol? Does that mean that you eat beforehand a little bit before you go to an event, gathering, get together, whatever, so you don't go overboard on so on and so forth? Like, if we think proactively, productively, respectfully, compassionately about what our intentions are for future situations, encounters, celebrations, holidays, and playing it out in our mind in a way that it's already done successfully, in a way that we wanted and intended out in the first place, you've already won. You've already set up the verbiage in your mind and the dialogue that plays out in the mind. Already you've set it up, because your monkey brain is obviously going to tell you, nah, bad, fear, negative. It's that forgive me, I've been watching a lot of like Mark Manson stuff, and I know he addresses this a lot if you're familiar with Mark Manson and like the Subtle Art book and oh my gosh, his other one, it's like Everything is Fucked, the book about hope, the blue and the orange book covers. But anyway, if we have to acknowledge when the verbiage that we're so used to that doesn't serve us, acknowledge it without letting it take over. Like, we have to set up these inner mental boundaries. We get to choose what we allow thoughts, feelings, and belief to come into our mind. And to know that, despite what societal diet culture says about what we have to do, how we have to do it with our weight loss efforts, we are in so much more controlled, and we need to remind ourselves of how much of a level of empowerment we actually have within us and how capable we are, so it can acknowledge and see that continued verbiage spiel of broken historical beliefs from our past, to break that while understanding and acknowledging that's who we were and detaching from that. While in these moments, like, you will over time, consistently, as you're practicing every single day, little bit by little bit, over time, how much of a trudging through the mud journey it can feel like sometimes. But when you have those moments of realization, those light bulb moments like I was talking about, sit with it, stay with it, and acknowledge how much growth you're having in these moments, to where you notice it, document it, and you are empowering yourself a little bit more each day on your journey. And maybe it's like grains of sand in an hourglass that little bit by little bit. Well, time is going to go by whether we take action or not. That's one of my favorite things, my realizations. I don't know if it was a quote that I saw somewhere, but I remember hearing it very early on and just getting obsessed with it. And it's one of those profound things. Time will pass whether or not you take action. That's up to you. What do you want your life to look like 30 days from now, 6 months from now, year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now? What do you want it to look like? Do you want it to be where you're still addicted to food? No, if you can allow yourself to sit and be uncomfortable with these hard, messy feelings that will come up, and believe me, they will, give it love, give it compassion, give it patience, hear it, but don't give in to it. Sit with it. Let it be uncomfortable. It's going to be some fucking uncomfortable stuff. It's going to be hard to sit with sometimes. You're going to want to distract yourself, because any hard feeling, any feeling of excitement, any feeling of sadness, whatever. If it was a big feeling that came over me, to me, stuff my face, give me something, I want to eat now. Did that behavior serve me? No. I can see that and acknowledge that. I acknowledged that probably like a good 2-3 months into my journey. I was like, holy shit. This is the sauce. This is the method. This is the tool. This is the way. It was like a compassionate spotlight on the inside of me, just illuminated what the factors were within me. And I was like, oh, now I know this is what happens when I give into these thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But on the opposite side of the same coin, it's up to me, in a very empowered, sort of excited way, to get excited and curious and willing to allow myself to compassionately, if you've heard my other podcasts where I talk about the mental weeds, where you're dismantling, and maybe it's just maybe all you can do, because if you've got a lot going on in your life, like many of us do these days, if all you can do for your mental weeds is just compassionately pull one out at a time, while you take a pause and I pulled one mental weed out. I am so thankful for that. Sit with that. That's freaking powerful. That is wonderful. If you pulled one, that's wonderful. Even if you just made some headway and halfway pulled one out, that's better than not at all. That's better than letting them sit and fester and continue, right? Acknowledge. Because if we allow those mental weeds to continue, I don't know. I've been in the mental weeds, like many of you probably have been as well. And that's a hard, heavy, mucky, uncomfortable place to be, that honestly, I don't want to scare you, but it doesn't usually come with a long expected life, not long, healthy life attached to it. So, but to combat, let me just take this, your water reminder. Take a sip of water. Take a sip of water first before we continue. I personally feel that if we allow ourselves as often as opportunities, and it doesn't have to be like to do 10-minute meditations all day long. I know that's unrealistic, but honestly, there are so many things that we do every single day that can be considered forms of meditation. So many different things. Make mundane chores a form of meditation for you. For me, okay, let me give you some examples. My methods of meditation that I have throughout the day in making the mundane things fun and mentally stimulating so that I am as present as possible. These things are putting on my makeup, and I do it slow. And I pay attention to every little eyelash, every press of the concealer onto my skin. I'm mindful in each of these practices. I pay attention to the way the brush feels as it touches my skin, as the mascara wand combs, and I literally like through my triple, ultra magnifying, because we got the readers and the glasses here, the no line progressives. But as I'm looking through the magnifying mirror and I'm slowly just curling up and I can see and I look and I let myself focus all those tiny little bristles as I'm combing and allowing that present awareness and the action that I'm doing in that moment, tremendous things for the body, like benefits of meditation on a physiological level. Check that out for yourself if you're interested to go down that rabbit hole. Woo, I could go on for hours on that. But additionally, okay, makeup, sweeping the floor, vacuuming, doing dishes. For me is a meditative experience because I go just crazy slow and I enjoy the repetitive process of motion. Maybe I'll have music on while I'm doing it, which is typically the norm. Allowing myself to not see what I'm doing in that moment with the negative verbiage spinning in my mind of, oh, I hate this. Oh, I wish I'd be done. Oh, I could really go for a snack right now. Oh, I should be doing this. Oh, I need to follow up with this first. Whoop! Stop all that. Like, let your mind be in the moment of, you hear your song on that you know all the words to, and it comes on, and you're just like, and you get into the words, and you realize that your hand motion goes to the rhythm of the music, because I've been there. We're sweeping to the rhythm, or we're vacuuming to the rhythm, or we're mopping to the rhythm, or washing dishes to the rhythm, to the beat, to the and you just, and you're having a good time, and before you know it, your whole freaking house is clean, and you're like, what? That was so fast. How did I finish this? Time flies when you're having fun. Make this process fun. Make your fasting journey fun. Like if you are not making this fun, you are missing out. Make your fasting journey fun. Yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, there could be life-altering changes, like becoming a widow. Things will happen on your journey, but it's all on how your headspace is. I also wanted to remind folks who have not heard the episodes where I've talked about this process of re-eating in the moment when you are faced with this trigger can help to minimize its effect on you as well. This mentally re-eating process is something that there's so much data and research to back it up, but in its essence, so for me, my best explained example is it would be like when I would go to the grocery store, especially like when we were in Florida, and going into the grocery store and thinking about this too, the more empowered you are, the better the experience can be. So understanding when you walk into a grocery store, any conventional grocery store, their intention is to get you to buy. They want you to spend money. They want to stimulate this psychological response. So to get you to do that, as soon as you walk in the door, typically at most grocery stores, you smell the food, you smell the bread, you smell the sweets, you smell, So they tap into you psychologically. If this is you, because this was me, and still, truth be told, I still do this often, maybe like once every other month or so if needed, because seasonal stuff, and I'm a pumpkin spice girly for life, no shame in that. But when you feel that moment of like, for example, like I said, going into the grocery store, the smell of bread, and then you walk a little further and you smell the deli where they're cooking like fries or like, I don't eat meat, but like chicken wings and other stuff. And if you feel yourself like, I could go for this, to overcome that, Let yourself, because chances are you've eaten whatever this food is so many other times before. How can you identify that trigger, like we talked about, while keeping those inner boundaries up so that you stay on the course for future you, future intentions and goals, and so on and so forth? As I say that, I can feel myself salivating, so that's funny. And I feel like in this moment, smell it, feel it, let it be a multi-sensory experience. Obviously, if you're walking around, you can even honestly do it while driving. Keep your eyes open. Obviously, that's kind of a no-brainer. Feel it in your mouth. Think about the taste of it in your mouth. Let it live and move around. Let it get weird. This is your experience. Don't worry about anybody else. Getting yourself to where you can identify the taste, the flavor, the feel, the smell, all of that. And then having this realization and identifying, and I always imagine either wiping my hands, swallowing, and saying, okay, I'm done. Like how you would say, I'm done if you're full. And then just assigning, I'm done. And then turning, like physically turning either your head or full body, to go to away from wherever that smell or trigger is. If you're not at a grocery store, for example. If you can do that, even if you do it messily, even if you do it half-assed, is better than not at all. So, to wrap everything up for today, identify and be mindful of what these verbiage wheels are, the mental weeds that are spinning in your mind right now. You're not broken, despite what family or friends or anybody else says about your appearance or who you are and how all that affects and ties together. Like, honestly, we're all our worst, harshest critics, right? I'm sure you've heard that before. And it's our responsibility to mitigate what this mental weeds looks like, feels like on us, because that can and will absolutely have an effect on the success or shortcomings of our health journey. That's our responsibility. But you're not broken, you're not busted, it's totally attainable and doable. You gotta want to have this consistency in your process, in your effort, that comes from every day showing up. Even if out of 100%, if all you can give is 50%, 50% is better than not at all. Let that 50% be the 100%. The more we can understand that the true simplicity of this, don't make it overcomplicated. Like, stop overcomplicating this powerful, powerful lifestyle tool. Understand in its simplest form, start with just the bare bones and understanding I'm going to change how often I'm eating. Just modifying it to 16/8. Even if you make no changes in your food, let's say for a week, 2 weeks, your body is going to start to send you these signals to where you want to make the changes in your dietary choices. Believe me, I've been there myself, talked to so many other clients who felt exactly the same way. You're not stuck, you're not broken, you're not damaged. You can do this. Your body is a multi-million-dollar house that your soul resides in. Understand that this is a journey. This is a marathon and not a sprint. Love this journey, and it will absolutely show beyond your wildest dreams, which is my goal for every single person who wants it for themselves. Please know that you can do this, and if you're listening to me right now, thank you, and please know that I believe in you, even if you don't. If you are in need of support on your fasting journey, reach out. There's multiple options between support with my community on school, fasting support one-on-ones with me. I have a handbook, more episodes of the Fasting Focused Lifestyle podcast. Like, the options are almost unlimited. I really want folks to feel this sense of empowerment. Despite the crazy world that we live in, we have to make sure we take care of ourselves before we pour into other aspects of our life, because that will drastically affect how long we get to live for. And I want long, healthy, meaningful lives for each and every single one of you. If you can hear me right now, I want you to live as long and healthily as possible. And I'm absolutely confident if you're struggling with your health and weight, try fasting. Just give it a try. Give yourself 30 days and see what happens. Really consistently. Plug in for 30 days. But you don't got to do it alone. Please reach out because I believe in you, even if you don't. The Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. Copyright 2025. The information given within this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your doctor before starting any weight loss method. Thank you.